I want to preface this video by saying something important. In order to understand a part of what I'm saying here is to understand the difference between being white and whiteness. Uh, Whiteness as a sociological category is a prejudiced position where there's this idea of one amalgamated whole white race that's inherently superior to other races. Well, the problem is that there is no such thing as a white race. The quote unquote white race is a total, or, social construct. There are individual races, German, English, Italian, etc. These things exist. But whiteness as a category is something that's created to lift oneself above other people, other races, etc., which is why the definition of white has changed over time. Originally, Italians and Irish were not considered white, but the demographics began to change, so it decided to add the Irish and the Italian in it in order to boost the numbers of white people. So that is to say, to be proud of being white is to be proud of being a group that marginalizes other people and discriminates. It is okay to be proud to be English or German, etc. The problem is whiteness. And one of the problems is that America is whiteness. Canada is whiteness. Australia is. The British are whiteness. Not necessarily English, but Britain as a concept, as a united whiteness concept. So the idea is to no longer identify as white. You are to return to your European roots, which is what the actual phrase, the Back to Europe movement, actually means, to return to your European roots. They're not talking about actually physically leaving the United States or Canada or Australia, etc. It's literally just returning to your original cultural roots instead of the whiteness, which is most adamantly propounded by white supremacists and their idea of a master race and white people superior, when there really is no such thing as white people. It's just a racist construct. Okay, I needed to explain that before I get into what I wanted to say. There was a question I had to ask myself. If I no longer identified as white, and part of that whiteness is to reject being Canadian, not the legal category. Yes, I am a citizen of Canada. I am a subject of His Majesty King Charles. That remains a legal definition. I'm not disputing that. What I'm disputing is the identity of Canadian, which is the history of stolen land, etc., which also includes whiteness. So if I was going to reject that, then the question becomes, and I had largely already done that, just not even trying, just being the way that I am, and I just realized I had pretty much already done that anyway. The question then became, if that's not my identity, what is? And that became a hard question to answer. I have ancestral roots in Ireland. In fact, pretty much would only have to go 3 generations back. I've got Sami roots, etc. But can I say that I ever felt like I was one of these people? Can I say that I ever really felt like I was Irish and I really identified with it? Oh, I can't say that I have. I've never really felt that kind of connection. I wasn't raised in that culture, in that whole sphere of Irishness. I could not say that I've ever experienced it, let alone be raised and, socialized in it. Well, then what is my identity? If it's not my European ancestry and it's not Canadian, what is it? And that became a difficult question to answer. I could just say something like, oh, you know, post white. I could say that. And I mean, I guess you could say that. You know, I could see that, and that's something people would have a hard time accepting. So, who am I? I mean, I'm not even fully understanding what post-white is. So, who am I? What is my identity? Do I even know? And the fact is, after looking at it, I essentially had to admit, no, I don't know what my identity is. I know my personality, my primary and secondary traits. I know my general mood state. I know my likes and dislikes, which is, you know, the secondary personality traits. But in terms of identity, who am I? And that became something I really had to think about. So I sat and I thought, what is the first thing I think of when I think of me? And the first thing that came to mind was Marxist. So after enough looking at different aspects of myself, you know, long-standing mental illness, class position, I came to realize that my identity is Marxist. My identity really is my political beliefs. And yeah, I know that's going to sound really, really cringy to some people. And, you know, libertarians, right libertarians, um, are criticized for doing that. They're criticized for being, for making that their whole personality. Yes, I am a Marxist. That is who I am. After the last 15 years of doing, you know, quickly approaching 16 years, all this work, educating people, doing the news, etc., it's pretty hard to deny that it's a central core tenet to who I am, what I believe in, the morals and values that I live by, the ones I believe in, and the ones I believe will make the world a better place. It's pretty hard to deny that. So that's it. That's my identity. Marxism. And the unfortunate things I have to live with, like long-standing mental illness, low income, etc. It's pretty hard to deny that class position is an identity, or at least I'm still a social construct, something that wouldn't exist if poverty didn't exist, but nonetheless something you certainly do feel. And if nobody's ever been poor who didn't feel like they were poor. Trust me, everybody who's been poor, and I use the word poor lightly. First world poor, if you can even call it that. Lumpen aristocrat, I guess you could say. So what does that mean? What does that really mean for me and who I am? Like, you know, some people ask the question, what does it mean to you to be black? Or what does it mean to you to be German. And probably most people don't have much of an answer, but a lot of people would. But what does it mean to be a Marxist? I mean, we understand that, but what does it mean as an identity? Other than saying to propound the theoretical contributions of Marx, etc. Outside of that, I don't know. I really don't know how to answer that question. And one that still confounds me to this day. How do I even explain what it is? I know what it is. I can label it. But can I explain it? Evidently not. It's really hard for me to say. So I'm wondering, everybody else out there who's also a Marxist, if you think you may find yourself in this situation as I have, tell me what you think. Go to the comment section and tell me what it is that you believe has that meaning for you. What is it that really, what does being a Marxist mean to you outside of someone who advocates the theory of Marxism, etc., as an identity? What does that mean to you? Because honestly, I don't know. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.